Welcome to DV Live. I'm Wayne Tassie, Group Director of Integrated Solutions across EMEA at Double Verify. We're live with you today from the Londoner Hotel in Leicester Square, and I'm here with my good friend Kiesse Lamour.
Hello.
Hello, Kiesse.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Who is Global Head of Media at VML.
That's right.
Perfect. Kiesse, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the event. What was your high point?
I really enjoyed Dan's presentation about the benefits and the pitfalls of AI and how Double Verify is leveraging, the tech to enhance everything that you do. But I think my highlight for today was the panel on measuring performance for efficiency and effectiveness. And I have to say it, Olia killed it for me.
Olia always kills it. Olia always kills it.
She kept it real, and that's my kind of girl.
Absolutely love it. I mean, Dan, I love the way Dan presents.
Yeah.
His presentation skills are exceptional. Olia always kills it in the panel. But yeah, so for me, I really enjoyed that panel as well, and it was great to see so much representation from across the business.
Yes,
and also
yes.
the gender divide as well, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Really good.
Almost
Well
an all-female panel, which I thought was pretty good.
Because women are intelligent, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know where you got the idea that we don't understand maths. Like, see, it was a panel on data and all women. So yeah, well done.
Fantastic.
All power to them.
So let me ask you this: couple of questions for you. Through a global lens, in your global role, does Northern Europe and EMEA compare with other regions when it comes to measurement that is specifically utilised to drive performance and business outcomes?
That's an interesting question, because when it comes to the needs for measurement and the approaches for measurement, there's actually quite a lot of similarities than divide across the regions. Simply because when you think about the people that are more vocal around measurement, they tend to be global brands, and then at a local level, they tend to be the big household names, and of course, the agencies. So they are very much pushing for consistency across channels, across markets. They are pushing for less fragmentation. I think the differences start to show up when you start looking at things like the features or the pace at which tech companies deploy features across the board. So you would see, for example, Double Verify might come up with a new feature that might be available in the US but not yet available in other regions. You also see differences in terms of the degree of sophistication as well across markets. Then you will see differences, but also what is on the agenda, what is hot in that market. If you look at Northern and Western Europe, for example, right, we're starting to talk more about sustainability in advertising, how to measure, how to optimize for that, but that's not necessarily high on the agenda of other regions in EMEA. And then, of course, the other points that I want to mention here, where you can see some of those differences, it also has to do with regulations. The regulations that you have prevalent in a country or a region, might impede what is available or not available, what is feasible or not feasible. You remember when GDPR was launched, right? We couldn't access certain data into the log level data, so which meant differences across.
I remember it well.
Exactly. So yeah, that's where you might see some of the differences from one country to another, from one region to another.
Yeah, I think if we look at those changes, I mean, I always feel like EMEA is like very unique in the fact that we have such a fragmented remit.
Correct.
The UK is in a different, Northern Europe's in a very different place to where Southern Europe and Central Europe are, and where MENAT is as well. So, no, absolutely to your point. Let's talk attention. So, attention metrics are becoming crucial to performance, and picking up on what you were saying a moment ago, there's much stricter privacy regulations, GDPR. What's coming in with cookie deprivation and sandbox signals as well. the eventual shift away from cookie-based targeting, what are the best ways to use attention metrics to improve ad performance, and are global brands embracing these?
That's a loaded question.
It's a massively loaded question.
I think with some of the buzzwords that tend to take our industry by storm, we are often tempted to forget the fundamentals of advertising, right? Which is about what? The right message.
At the right time.
At the right time.
The right person.
Right person, right environment, right? And when you think about attention metrics, they aren't there to reinvent the wheel.
No.
They are there to enhance those fundamentals and to a certain degree actually put an emphasis back on creativity. So with all the data and all the insights that marketers now have at their fingertip, they are able to understand what works or what doesn't work from a creative perspective, where it works and where it doesn't work from an environment, context perspective, inventory, you name it how you want, who it works for and who it doesn't work for from an audience perspective, and then start to truly create and optimize their campaigns and their creative for better ad engagement and viewership, right? And I think that sometimes in our industry we get caught up so much in the vortex of technology that we tend to forget those fundamentals.
Totally.
And we need to think about attention metrics or any other metrics, any other tools as ways to enhance what we do, to improve what we do, as opposed to replacing those fundamentals.
I think if you look at the fundamentals as like the foundation of a house, it's one of those things where you're building a lot on top of it, but if you haven't got those foundations correct to begin with, then obviously you're building on sand and it's just going to slide away from you.
Exactly. So
perfect. So let's. I don't think we could do one of these without talking AI.
Of course not.
The resurgence of AI. How are you guys adopting it, and to improve campaign performance? And I know that is a pretty loaded question as well, but I'm interested in kind of what your take is on AI in its current format within our industry.
So if you think about AI models, right, because there isn't one AI, there are many AI models, they are there, especially in the context of our industry, predominantly or primarily to a certain extent to help us streamline our processes and enhance our outputs, right? Because when you think about the number of and the volume of campaigns that any agency or any brands deploys on a daily basis, and therefore the amount of data that is generated and required to keep a well-oiled machine, we've reached a point where we can't just rely on human inputs, right? We can't just rely on human effort alone. And from that context, with AI, we are able to better understand path to purchases, for example. We're able to better understand the optimal media mix. We're able to understand attribution, audience profiles and actions, content performance with much more clarity and accuracy, which then enables us to have the tools to properly optimize our campaigns, but also to create content, what content to create, and where to deploy that content, right? It's also about not just the creative and the audiences, but selecting the environment that work for the type of content that you're putting out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I kind of feel like AI is a bit of a coverall, and we need to get a little bit deeper into fragmenting it and defining, AI for content, for example, AI for tech, AI for optimization. But right now, people are just talking about AI as a kind of, one size fits all. And we know, being in the industry, it's not a one size fits all. AI's been around a long time. It fuels programmatic. We know that, we could not do the decisioning that we do with human beings alone. We don't have the capacity.
That's right.
So, I think there is a place for it. I know that the current resurgence has its positives and negatives that people are focusing on. But I think, it's here to stay, but we definitely need to define it more. And I think our agency and brand partners are going to be the ones that help support to do that.
But I think it's in terms of defining, that also could be said about attention metrics, right? Going back to attention metrics. One of the things that I see is that, yes, a lot of people are talking about it, the industry is buzzing about it, but like Dan said, if you ask 6 different people, you will have six different answers, right? So I think that there is some work to be done to properly define what it is and what it isn't, what it does and what it doesn't, right? Because those are valid questions. When you have people asking you, is it just a new vanity metric that the industry has created to remain relevant, or is it just some repackaged viewability or something else, or is it truly a game changer? Those questions need to be answered, and we need to educate people to really, foster adoption.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier on, and what we saw in the sessions today. It's about the fundamentals of marketing. It's about driving performance and outcomes and using it correctly and making sure you understand the correct signals. Kiesse, what are your top 3 2024 industry predictions?
Oh, I hate that word.
I know.
Because the thing is, right, why I hate the word predictions, because one, I'm not a fortune teller, right? I don't look like one. But also because we've been through those motions where people were predicting, oh my God, blockchain is going to
Blockchain's going to kill us.
And it didn't, right? Oh, metaverse is going to be the new thing since sliced bread. And it wasn't. We need to stop. That being said, there are topics that I'm quite interested in, and I think are going to be relevant this year or next year. The first topic isn't necessarily directly related to advertising, but more may have drastic impact on advertising. I'm thinking about the year 2024, and this year alone, we will have 64 countries that are going to have national elections, right? Which is about, if you look at in terms of the world's population, is about half of the world population. So depending on how those elections are going to go and where we start to sway, towards more conservative government or more liberal government, right? It could have a massive impact on regulations, and certainly regulations that also impact advertising. And it is potentially a great opportunity for the future of advertising, or potentially a massive threat for the future of advertising and our societies. So that's one thing that I'm closely paying attention to. The second thing that I'm also paying closely attention to, just because I now work in the area of commerce, is how we're going to see, and we've started seeing more in North America, but it's going to come to other regions as well, retailers now making their treasure trove of data available to non-endemic brands, that is brands that don't sell at their stores. And this is, I think, a relevant response, and I think some of the brands are going to welcome it, especially with the demise of the cookie. But also because, let's face it, retailers need to think about diversifying their revenue streams, right? We continue to evolve in a very inflationary economy. We continue to face the cost of living, and there are pressures on revenue. So it's a good answer for the industry, but also a good answer for the revenues for retailers. And then the third one, that's more of a joke, but with the recent announcement by Google that really made the industry lose it. And I'm like, this is a great opportunity for brands and agencies to start thinking about how they themselves start moving away from third-party cookies. And then maybe we'll get to a point where Google won't need to deprecate a cookie because everyone else would have deprecated it for them, right?
I mean, I do remember when we kind of breathed a collective sigh of relief like 3 or 4 years ago as an industry, when it was pushed back a couple of years, and we seem to be in that position again.
Yeah, we are, but I think, we and I know Google is massive. I'm not underplaying their importance and the the power that they have and the impact that they can have. But I think, sometimes you can't just stay there, wait and moan, right? Maybe this is a time for action. Start, if you truly believe in privacy by design, this is the time to prove it, right? Start making that movement towards away from cookies. You don't have to wait for Google to do that.
Kiesse, I always love our conversations. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us on DV Live. We'll see you again soon.